I genericized it.
Genericized. That sounds like a VHS tape worth
Oh,
watching.
okay, cool. I got this. Coming up in this episode, we mix up debs and RPMs. We sip on a LaCroix, trim the hedges, and we reveal the next distro, which is... Stick around. Hey, and welcome to the Linux User Space. I'm Leo.
And I'm Dan.
And I'm Joe.
And we were having this conversation about, Dan, what phone did you have? When was this? So the conversation was chat platforms. And we were talking before the show, which, by the way, if you want to see that part, it's $5 on Patreon, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
$5?
Only
$5?
$5.
Yeah.
$5.
Only. And you said you had an iPhone 4S, because we're talking about how do we do this? We have too many chat platforms, so let's just continue that conversation. So iPhone 4S.
Yeah, last Apple device that I owned was an Apple iPhone 4S. Yeah. That was
And
a while
Joe,
ago now. Yeah, look,
So that's the tall, skinny one, right? I think that's the one that converted me. That's the one where I was like, okay, I've resisted enough. I'm tired of running my custom ROMs on my droids because they die in 5 minutes, or I just have to turn my phone off every day and back on. So that's when I was like, all right, I'll try this. And then I never went back.
At the 4 stage?
Whatever the tall one was. 4S? I think it was the 4S or the 5.
I think
it was
so.
one of those.
That's
now I got to Google
bigger
it.
Screen than the other ones. It was fancy.
It was still when
I don't know.
Android was like mocking Apple openly about screen size, but it was.
But
they just went like an inch taller.
Wow. So I resisted a lot longer than you guys. I think and Dan, you didn't
No,
even,
it was the 5. So it was the 5.
No,
Oh,
so that
okay.
was the last one I had. So I switched the other direction at the same time Joe said it was great.
Yeah. That's when I 5 or the 5S, one of those two. Anyways, yes, got on and never went back. Bought an iPad, I'm just like, there's no reason to use Android ever again in my life. Ever.
Yeah, I got that vibe because I think I resisted a whole lot longer than you did, Joe. It was around iPhone 10 time.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, it was about iPhone 10 time because my wife got the 10 and she had she couldn't sell the 7, or she didn't want to sell the 7. That was a reason we didn't get rid of it. And my phone, you were talking about the reboots. It was, almost once a day.
Every day.
I had a Nexus 6P, so it was a Google phone. And I just got to the point where, and this is a stock ROM, where I had to reboot almost every single day to get things running right. The screen had it was a high DPI screen. It was bigger than 1080p, but it didn't seem like the graphics processor was up to it because there was a lot of stuttering all over the place. And I was just like, you know what? Why not? Let me just charge it up and play with it and get my apps on it and see what happens. And man, just the buttery smoothness of everything. Say what you want to about the walled garden approach, man, but you can't ride unless you are this tall in the App Store. And so if things, at least the big name stuff, it all works fantastically. So yeah, it stole me away at that point. So I was on a 7 Plus until recently, until I got the 12 Mini, which apparently is not selling great, but I love it.
It is not. In fact, when you said you got that, I was like, okay. Okay, but actually, I figured there was a market for it because Apple's pretty good about going, this is what they want,
Yeah.
But yeah, they've done some research.
And before anybody writes and was like, it's because you were using a crappy, I always had like flagship Android phones. I've always had flagship phones, like whatever they are at the time. Like I was, when the Droids first came out, the Motorola Droids, like that was the phone to have. I had the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. I had the HTC Thunderbird. Like I tried Thunderbolt. I tried them all like multiple times. And battery life, rebooting, garbage
Battery
apps.
life.
Garbage
Oh,
apps.
battery
Just
life.
the
And
most.
so-
My brother
Like
would
just
show me
doubled
an app, and I'm like, "Wow, that looks so nice. Does it actually work? How much of your identity was stolen by the person who wrote that app, that trash app that shouldn't be on your phone in the first place?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you nailed it with the battery life. I mean, at the time, a 3-year-old phone out battery lifed, my Nexus 6P, and it was, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I could barely get a day out of my 6P, and this rickety old 3-year-old phone could last me 2.5 days of, I played games on it. Like it was not. I don't know. It wasn't barely noticeable. It was in your face, different. And I mean, as far as battery life goes, it was better.
I gotta say, I've found the Motorola phones to be a little more pure, if you will, and I've had good luck with the battery life. I haven't had a real big problem with stuttery or slow or any of that stuff. You get the normal application problems as far as there's some junky ones out there, and you just got to watch what you get.
Yeah, but Apple's got a few of those too.
You could probably get some junky ones on the Apple Store too. They just aren't selling your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, they ask permission to sell your soul.
Right.
That's
they will
the
ask you
difference.
first. Yeah.
They do. They've done a better job with that stuff on Android as well, I think.
Yeah.
As far as
honestly, I went to Apple
permission.
for the security and privacy aspects of things.
That makes sense.
It wasn't because of the battery life. It wasn't because this was better or that was better. It just turned out that those things were also very nice to have. But yeah, I mean, I went for the fact that, what do they call that? The secure enclave.
Secure
yeah,
enclave.
I mean, that kind of stuff. That's what bowled me over.
And I'll say, so also to be fair, I know Android has come a long way since then. Like a long way. This was a while ago now. And I know, like, I was actually really tempted a while back to get like a Pixel phone or something just to play, just to get it and to see how things are going. I know it's come a long way, not disparaging it these days, but back then it was just night and day. And actually, back to our conversation, what I fell in love with the most about the phone was iMessage. And what started this conversation is like Leo and I were both like,
oh yeah,
when you're texting someone and all of a sudden their name pops up green, you're like, oh gosh.
These guys are on an Android phone.
Let's just move this to Telegram or WhatsApp. Like, let's find an actual chat platform. SMS should be done by now. It is just ridiculous that it's not. And Google has had a lot of platforms, Hangouts, Allo, right? What are the other 900 apps they've killed off?
I don't know.
Chat
They've killed off
platforms?
a whole bunch of those things.
And it's just like,
but then you see a lot of the other ones come in too, like you mentioned Telegram and WhatsApp, and I mean, there's like a billion out there you can choose from.
There's too many
with
apps.
all of the crazy stuff that happened in January, Telegram and Matrix, or not Matrix, Signal, saw a huge influx of users. Right. And we were talking about Matrix before that as well.
And I've kind of jumped in full force into Matrix, which is great. It's a great app for me, and it's a great platform. Because it allowed me to dump some of the IRC channels that I had, because Matrix natively will bridge into your IRC channels too. So I can monitor those that I was monitoring anyway. Just I can consolidate into one application.
So hold on. So you're telling me
helps.
you're telling me that I can join, I mean, just IRC channels on Freenode or Spot Chat or something.
Yeah, Freenode stuff for sure.
From just the app, like the Element app on the phone, or what?
Yep. I'm using Element on my phone, and I'm using Element on the desktop, but it works with the other, Fluffy Chat or whatever, Neo Chat, whatever one you pick.
So what is its
Interesting.
feature? What's the thing that I should be like? I've got it. I've been on Matrix for a while, like on the Element app. Like I got in, and
it's
I'm
Mastodon, right?
I'm like,
It's very Telegram-like,
is it?
I guess. So, yeah, it has some of the same things.
I can tell I haven't opened the app in a while because it looks so much better than it did before.
Oh, hey, cool. All
And
right.
I've got 8
So
million
I won't
messages.
even know how bad it is. I've not been on it yet.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. And on the desktop, it's basically an Electron app. So it looks just like the web, but, a little cleaner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it looks very decent.
All right, Dan.
I think.
All right, we're moving the whole show over to Matrix. Got it.
I didn't say we should
Doing
do
it right
that
now. Let's
necessarily.
get off
We
Discord.
got
End of this chat.
Patreon integration.
In the video right now.
Yeah,
In
right.
the video.
But we talk about encryption. Matrix, the protocol has encryption, and Element will let you do encrypted chats.
Do you think, here's my question. Do you think, Dan, do you think that...
I try not to think.
Yes.
No, why would I start thinking now?
Dan, do you think that Matrix is where all the little whippersnappers are going to be? Are all the cool kids going to be in Matrix?
No, they went to
don't think
Discord.
so.
Is it just
They're
going to be a
already
bunch
on
of us dorks sitting there talking about stuff?
It's
Okay.
going to be us graybeards talking about the good old days.
It's Telegram
It's-
2.0 is what you're saying. Is that what
No,
you're saying,
I think
Dan?
so.
It's IRC 2.0.
Oh, it's even worse. It's IRC 2.0. Oh, Lord. Oh, stop, Dan.
We haven't even made it to the Telegram
Oh,
phase.
Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it's got those features, right? I mean, you can obviously send
Yeah.
stickers to people and animated GIFs and all that stuff, right? Okay.
And you got reactions, and you got all those things that you get on
Can
the
you
other
chat
platforms.
in? Can you do the whole reply to this message in line?
You can do a reply.
Okay. All right.
Kind of does a little
But
append
it also-
business, but yeah.
Maybe I'm conflating the two because I really am not familiar with it. So is it Mastodon that gives you like the Facebookish style
So
stuff?
Mastodon is the Twitter alternative.
Oh, okay. So this is something I would be interested in. Are there tons of people on Mastodon?
There's a
Are there
fair
tons of
bit
people
Linux things.
Hold on,
I don't know
let's
about
back
a
up.
bunch
Dan,
of people.
Dan, are there people we care about on Mastodon?
What do you care about, I guess?
People
care about Linux.
People with things. People that talk about things. Is
I'm
Manjaro
not
on Mastodon?
Yes,
System
I
76
think
on
so.
Mastodon? Is the Linux kernel tweets on Mastodon? Is all this stuff?
Okay, the first couple maybe because they have social media presence, but the kernel no.
Right, I know.
Some of those things
they're not on Twitter.
are they multi-post, right? They post
Yeah.
to Twitter and Mastodon at the same time, so you'll see the same post come through.
What a
There's a bot for
terrible
that.
name, Mastodon.
Yeah.
Who came up with that?
I don't know about that, but
Archaeologist? What? What's
Oh,
this guy
come on.
doing?
People said the same thing about Twitter. Twitter? What are
Yeah,
you,
but you can't. But it's stupid too. I'm just saying. But
That's catchy,
Mastodon
though.
It's a mouthful. At least Twitter's quick. If you gotta have a stupid name, it's got to be a quick one. Twitter, tweet. Yeah.
Mastodon Toot. I don't know.
What is it? What are you doing if you're sending a Mastodon?
It's Toot.
Is it a Tusk? Are you sending a
that's
Tusk?
actually a fair
is it
point.
a Toot?
No, really, it's Toot.
It's Toot.
Toot.
No.
Wow.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Toot your own horn?
They're Toots.
Okay, I think it just killed the whole thing. I don't know if I can join
I don't,
Mastodon
like,
now. I'm
is
gonna,
somebody- does-
what
do-
am I going to tell someone?
Do people
I
say
just
that out
tooted.
loud? Do they say I just tooted on Mastodon? Did he
boost
thank you?
Toots.
What's
don't
what's
know.
the reaction to that?
Oh wait, so retweeting is a boost?
Yep, it's a boosted Toot.
A boost of okay. I mean, I can get along with boost. I don't know if I can get along with Toot. Okay. I mean, all right.
I don't know. I don't make these things up.
Because you're like tooting your horn. They're talking about
I
tooting
guess.
your horn. That's what they're talking about.
It is.
Right.
It is.
Well, it's
But
better
toot
than
is
blow
one of
your
those
horn.
words.
So that I guess tooting your
Mhm.
horn's better than blow your horn because that could have went wrong.
Okay.
It's kind of fun. I don't know.
I get it. I get it.
So you're on Mastodon, Dan. Can
I
I
don't know if I
harass
wanna
you on
get
all
it.
of these platforms?
Yeah,
Okay, good. I'm in. Let me.
you totally
Okay.
can.
Yeah. Let me.
all right.
I am on Mastodon.
Let me.
All right, so maybe on the next show's housekeeping we'll have and those usernames are so weird, man. It's like @Leo @Leo@Leo@Leo@Leo.mastodon.org/something or another, and it's like, what even is that? I know it's like where you created your account and
Is there
your
an official
username-
app?
Oh.
I use FetaLab on my phone.
Feta?
What
Like
even?
cheese?
Yeah.
Like Federate.
Oh, Federated.
Federate.
Okay, Feta.
FetaLab. That's what that's called.
It's very crumbly, and you add it to your lettuce.
Yeah.
Hey, for $4, I can buy the Toot app.
Ugh.
I don't think I'd spend $4 on that, but
Or I can.
Well,
I
you
can
can-
get.
I use the web client on-
Two toys, which I think
Joe,
is a
you
play
can
on
toot
tortoise.
for free.
I
you
can
can
toot
toot
for
for
free?
free with the Element app.
Oh, I
No,
can
you
join.
can't toot from
Oh,
Element.
you can't toot from. Wait. So the whole conversation was we have too many apps and too many chat protocols. So you're telling me that if I want to get on Matrix and then I want to get on Mastodon, I already gotta have 2 different apps.
And you got to
Correct.
toot.
I thought this was supposed to like simplify it all.
No, there's no simple. I am on all the platforms, though. You can probably find me.
There's Tootle for Mastodon.
Tootle is less offensive than Toot. So
Yeah.
I mean,
But so these are all like
What are we
third-party
doing?
apps.
what are we even doing?
They don't
Yeah,
have like
could
they
be.
don't have
I
like an app. Is it like Matrix?
No,
where
it's-
you got to have like Element, like somebody's doing
Yes.
the app and then somebody else is doing the technology.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, because they're all federated instances, federated servers, and they connect on the backside, but everybody's running their own
So
instance.
I'm pretty much going to
and-
have to do a Google search on what's the best way to get on Mastodon on an iPhone.
Okay,
There's
see,
I don't know about the iPhone.
Well,
there's
I
a
know.
really important point to make here, and that is, Joe, what did you just said? You had to do a search.
I'm going to have because I don't
to
trust
do
any of that. I
something
don't want
else.
to just install
But
a
let
random
me-
app.
let me-
Yeah.
But my point
Yeah,
is
that's
that
crazy, right?
we are nerdy enough to do that.
Yes.
We are nerdy enough to track it down and figure out some instructions. This is why nobody ever will be on
Matrix
any
or
of this.
Mastodon.
Any of this
Nope,
because you
probably right.
already
Because
step 1, search. Nope.
Right.
I'm noped out.
Because-
most people just nope.
Yeah. Because you know what someone's going to happen?
Then you got to seek out an instance to join.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh.
Unless you want to run your own,
Right.
because they encourage that.
Right.
But
At
Nobody's
least
got time for that,
Telegram
really.
was like, hey, get on Telegram. It's the apps. What's
Yeah.
the app called? It's called Telegram. Okay. I feel like I can put
Yeah.
those two things together. Somebody's
Join-
going to come
No,
up
no,
to
no.
me and go,
boom, I'm on.
let me get on
Yeah,
Matrix.
I get it.
How do I get on Matrix? Do I get the
Tootle.
Matrix app? No, you
gotta
got
get
to
the
you got to
Tootle
tootle
app.
over to the Element app, and then you got to Mastodon your way into a tweet so you can tweet
Oh, no.
yeah. It's no.
You got to join an instance and get
Yeah.
it federated.
You got to
and-
be
yeah,
federated.
no,
I got to
no,
join
no, no,
Star
no, no, no.
Trek now with the Federation. Like it's really weird.
Yeah. Well, you got to learn Klingon to log on the first time.
Right.
So, I mean,
I'm
that's
out.
not too far away.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's kind of the
It's too much.
It's the barrier to entry,
It's
for
a
sure.
big one.
It's
It is a big one, and this is
Yeah.
why Signal will win. You know, like
Signal?
it's not
It's
the
not bad.
easiest thing to handle Signal and all the encryption and all that kind of stuff and understanding what perfect forward secrecy is and things like that. But, you know, you don't have to. You don't have to know what PFS is to get onto Signal and send someone
This
an
is
encrypted
why-
message. You don't have to know. But
No,
with Matrix and all this,
It's not
you
why
got to know. You got to
it's
be
not why
tuned in.
Signal's gonna win. It's why WhatsApp is winning. It's why Facebook Messenger is winning.
absolutely.
Because nobody is
It's
gonna
easy.
like only us dorks are gonna come do this. Like nobody's gonna do this until
Yeah, you might
somebody.
be able to set up your family members and some of your friends.
I'm not.
but you-
I'm not because they're gonna
They'll
be like,
never launch
Well,
that
you might
app.
be able to.
yeah,
I'm, just
like,
saying.
hey, they're
you
gonna be
could
like, hey, I'm trying to
probably-
get on Mastodon. I'm like, well, you got to launch the Tootle app for the 9th time. Get on Tootle, and then you can Mastodon Tootle me with a toot.
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous.
It's not.
Oh,
like,
man.
You're not gonna keep. Yeah, no. It just
Okay.
needs to.
If you have your
Easier-
entire family on Mastodon or you're all tooting
I
and
don't.
tooting to each other, send us a message. I want to know who you are. I want to know what circles you run in, and I want to see the Venn diagram that our lives intersect because I don't believe it's possible. I don't think it exists.
Yep.
Is Kevin Bacon on that?
Mastodon?
Surely.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay, here we are. It's been 7.5 months. I mean, it's been a month.
It felt that way.
Nah.
Okay, it felt like it was 20 years ago.
It did
is what
feel long,
felt
but I
like.
think there's just been a lot of events happening in the last month. I think
There sure
we had an
has.
ice storm this week. We had all kind of crazy stuff. So thankfully, Leo survived. We're happy he's here.
I survived the great fill up your toilet with snow water apocalypse so you can flush your toilet. Yeah,
Yes.
I survived.
Yep. Those of you watching the video feed realized he stocked up on beer and is fine. So
Yeah, you got to stay hydrated, man. When there's no running water, you got to figure out some way to stay hydrated, and it just happened to be black tea, cold, and wheat and barley tea, right?
Right.
That's
Yeah,
it.
barley water. Yeah.
Barley water.
So Leo, the maniac that he is, has been locked indoors for 2 days looking at nothing but PC Linux OS.
Actually, yeah.
And that is that's the truth. So
I gotta say, it's where most of my opinions are gonna come from. When I had nothing else to do but live on PC Linux OS. So
Yeah.
I've got opinions, man.
All right. So we're going to take a little walk, as we like to do, down memory lane. Look at the history. Where did PC Linux come from? And is PC Linux an OS or is it a POS? And we're going to find out.
They say they are. It's in the name, PC Linux
OS.
OS. So they're a whole operating system.
They're a whole operating system. All right. So if we take a walk back to circa 2000, there's a gentleman. His name is Bill Reynolds. And this guy, he loves packaging. He's just really into packaging. I looked at a couple interviews, and every time he's like, I love to package code and put stuff together. And that's cool. One interview, he actually said, it is like a puzzle where all the pieces have to fit together or the code doesn't work. And we all know when it doesn't work, it really is no fun on a computer.
Yeah.
So that love of packaging led him into, he started to maintain his own set of RPMs for Mandrake. And from what I could tell, the idea was that these provided a little bit of out-of-the-box niceties for Mandrake to just make the OS a little bit more user-friendly, just a little get up and go. Kind of reminded me, and you guys are going to probably call me out on this, but I was thinking of kind of like the Copper repo or just something that you get in and you're just like, okay, yeah, I just give me all the stuff.
So where's the real stuff?
Yeah, just give me all the stuff.
Give me the stuff that I actually care about.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The stuff that makes your audio work so you can watch YouTube and anyways, whatever we were doing back in the early aughts. So,
let me say real quick, Mandrake, though, is one of the other times where, so I started with Slackware. This is where like everything blossomed and I kind of started to like Linux. But prior to that, there was a little inkling. I went to a Circuit City, now defunct, and I picked up a boxed copy of Mandrake.
Wow.
I could not tell you what version it was, but the thing that really like struck me about Mandrake was that they had this like install in kind of like how Wooby used to be on Ubuntu, where you could install it in Windows and then reboot into it and do all that. Like they had one of those, and that was my one of my early kind of experiences with Linux. And I gotta say, the modem didn't work. This is dial-up days, by the way.
So this is
modem did not work.
Yeah.
Modem did not work. So yeah, trashed it pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I did not know that you didn't have to pay for Linux. Like all of my experience was go get a copy of Windows 98, buy a copy of it. And so I'm like, oh, so you must have to buy Linux too. No, you bought the book that it came with, which was interesting reading, by the way. And that shows you how nerdy I am. I enjoyed reading the user manual. So anyway,
Helpful
I'll stop
reference.
sidetracking us.
Yeah. Well, I never used Mandrake, so I'm glad one of us did. That's good.
Yeah.
So he does this for a couple of years. And around 2003, he starts getting interested in the Live CD project. And we know that all went far and turned into Live USB. Anyways, all of these different things that actually modern Linux we know. We even talk about it still. Do you have a live disk? Do you have a live, even though none of us use a disk anymore, but, or, a USB. And he actually starts working pretty closely with them, and they end up developing a new distribution. And this is based off a fork of Mandrake 9.2. Now, it takes a little bit to get rolling, of course, because you don't just do this overnight. But by May 2007, a lot of this work happened in 2006, 2005. But by this time, May 2007, after several preview releases and using this snapshot of Mandriva, now, which was formerly Mandrake, to create a brand new, unique code base. They spent about 6 months or longer pulling and incorporating patches from the likes of Fedora, from Gentoo, and even Debian, and along with incorporating the advancements that Mandrake, now Mandriva, had made over the course of that time, PCLinuxOS 2007 is released, and it is featuring a custom-themed KDE 3.5.6 and kernel 2.6.18.
Felt like that. Felt like that over the past few weeks.
Yeah, exciting stuff. So going forward, pretty much iterative releases. Now think about this. It's a rolling release, right? So for the most part, once you install, you're upgrading. But in 2009, there was I believe a code base change to the fact that you couldn't upgrade anymore. This was a fresh install. No matter what you'd been doing before, you get to the 2009 release, it was no longer. This was the last one that was compatible. After that, you were going to have to do a new install, fresh install. This is also the final version to be shipping, the K desktop environment 3, as we all know and love. Oh, tear. Pour one out. But when I was looking through some of the interviews and things, and I looked at, man, I must have read through 15, 16 reviews of PC Linux OS, because there was a lot of writing going on the internet at the time. So they would get, various writers. They all had their little issues, but for the most part, they loved it. Like, they really, really, I didn't find one that just trashed it. That was just like, this is garbaggio. It was nothing like that. In fact, one of them, it says by its fans, it was dubbed the distro hopper stopper. That's bold.
Nice.
That's bold.
That is bold.
It's pretty bold.
Especially for that time.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because, I mean...
And stay tuned. We'll decide whether or not it was our distro hopper stopper.
Is it a showstopper? So, along with KDE 3, K desktop environment, the cool desktop environment.
Cool, baby.
They had some remastered versions, they call them. Basically, I guess what we would call today community editions, but some remastered editions that featured GNOME, GNOME 2, of course, at the time, LXDE, and XFCE. And something else I just thought was hilarious, but their ISO's naming convention at the time, you could download the Mini-Me, which was the minimalistic, or the Big Daddy. No affiliation.
Wait, Big Daddy who?
Yep, nope.
Hold on, who?
Nope, no affiliation.
Oh.
No affiliation.
Okay.
But I
got excited for him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You guys remember that guy? He was cool.
Yeah, he was
the Big
cool.
Daddy.
I like him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. The Big Daddy version had all the options. So, a lot of the options. And pretty long list of applications and things that came installed. So today I think we have, I think at one point too, they switched to the full Monty. So these guys, yeah, I'm like, ooh, hey.
The whole thing.
Yeah, they got the whole thing. So creative, I would venture to say. The April 19th, 2010 release brought with it KDE 4. And along with that, a new kernel, and a few new DEs, Enlightenment and OpenBox. And pretty much they stayed on this yearly release cycle. Again, I would say, and I couldn't find this anywhere for sure, but like most rolling releases, they're taking a snapshot, packaging it. You can go get it. But once you're in, you're just kind of rolling along. Now, moving forward. Oh, also, another highlight was that April 2013 brought their first 64-bit release, as well as their first live USB solution. What a day when live USB started to be a thing, don't you guys think?
Man, it's so cool.
Gosh,
I love it.
It was great.
It's the best thing ever. It's how I repair everything.
It's awesome. Like, right. I don't know what's next, but it's hard to think about like what's going to be for that tool, like what's going to be next or what's better. I guess they'll just continue to make it better, but it was
slicing the loaf of bread.
Yes. Yeah.
It was
a
great.
Big deal. So now we flash forward to 2015 and a new respin is announced. And this is where we're going to detour just a little bit. Here it goes.
Bring it.
TDE, the Trinity desktop environment, was coming to PC Linux OS. Now,
yay!
Of course, when we saw this as an option, as we were trying to pick out which distro we wanted to do this past month, I think everybody said, Trinity? Yes, let's go back in time and check out KDE, because we all have got a fond soft spot for classic KDE. It's really cool stuff. And so we did it. and we're going to talk about our experiences here shortly. But to talk about TDE and kind of where it came from, I thought we'd fire up the Wayback Machine, and I promise you to find articles on this. I had to fire up the Wayback Machine. One page, I swear I sat there 30-some seconds for it to load and find. I thought, oh, it's not going to pull. It's not going to pull. Black screen, black screen, black screen. I refreshed one more time, black screen, and then all of a sudden the text popped up, and I was like, yes, I need this article.
Nice. So they had, I guess they kind of had a situation like Manjaro did, where like everything just poofed. And then they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we set it up again, and it's over here now.
It's over here, yeah.
Don't mind that all the other links are broken, though."
Yes.
So
because
we went back.
Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Don't look at him.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't know.
There's nothing to see there.
I found some release announcements, and the links just didn't work.
Yeah.
So,
they were gone. They were toast. So they may have also migrated all their stuff over and just didn't care to bring it because it was old. I don't know, but I did find some of it on the Wayback Machine, and that was cool. So we're going to look back into a time when GNOME 3 and KDE 4.0 were going to end humanity as we know it.
We can't let them do this. We have to do something.
If you think the whining and complaining about GNOME 40 is bad, well, hold my beer, because the early 2010s were like explosive. Just GNOME 3 was an abomination. And
Mate was born.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mate.
Cinnamon. There's so many things that came out of that, right?
It is. A lot came out of it. And typical Linux, like, we want all the innovation, we want progress, we want development and all of that. Just don't ever change anything.
Yeah.
Ever. If you change anything, I'm going to fork it.
I'm going to fork
that fork.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't change it. I like it the way it is. Get off my lawn, kids. So,
yep.
So we documented the struggles with KDE 4.0 back in episode whatever it was when we did our deep dive on Plasma.
Good research on that one.
What one was that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Neon.
It was Neon. When we did our deep dive into KDE and Plasma. So we won't rehash that. But around 2010, there was still a solid user base of KDE 3.5 that just didn't like the direction that 4.0 was taking. And we talked about the struggles. There were some efficiency struggles major with 4.0.
Early days of 4
4
were rough.
was not the place to be. 5, once 5 came out,
5 was the sweet spot, yeah.
Even the end of 4 wasn't bad, but the early days, not good.
Well, it's like Vista, right? It doesn't matter what happened at the end of it.
Right.
Because,
I know.
Because once Service Pack 1 came out in Vista, it was like, oh, this is totally usable. It actually looks kind of... No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever fondly remember Vista.
No. And everyone will say it that way, and it annoys me because it's Vista.
No.
So we have this user base, KDE 3.5. They don't want to move forward with 4.0. Don't like the direction. Enter Mr. Timothy Pearson. Timothy had worked on the KDE 3.5 remix of Kubuntu after they had moved on to KDE 4.0. So armed with some experience and an obvious passion for 3.5, the Trinity desktop was born. And the name makes sense. So if we think about the word Trinity, its roots come from the Latin trinus, meaning threefold, and translated later into Middle English as Trinity. That's your English lesson for today, kids.
Come back next week for more.
Come back next week when we talk about the roots of Leo's hair and how they haven't changed color. So, anyways.
Telling you, the video is a whole other angle,
It's a whole other angle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, basically a fork of KDE 3.5.11. They continued the same versioning scheme up until 2014 when they switched from 3.5 dot whatever to this R14. And since then, it's been R14 point releases. But they're very clear on their site that TDE is not a continuation of KDE 3.5, but it's become its very own desktop environment. And I could say that definitely was true. I know when you get into Trinity Desktop, it takes you back immediately. It's like, oh, wow. It's like the snapshot in the history of time of desktop Linux. But that said, it's packaged and available for all the modern distros, Ubuntu, Fedora, OpenSUSE, PCLinuxOS. I mean, you name them, there's a ton of them out there. And to this day, Trinity is available on PCLinuxOS in the Mini, Me, and Big Daddy varieties. So they've even kept that going,
Daddy.
even though PC
Nice.
Linux OS has ditched those two. So, yeah. So let's talk about Trinity for a little bit. We started there because
We did.
nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I stayed. I
Yeah.
stayed.
So Leo was
Until like 1 hour ago when I installed Plasma on top of it. Yeah, I rode the Trinity bus the whole way.
yeah.
Nice.
It was cool. I to be honest, like
It was fun to. Yeah.
I spent a solid 2 hours just looking around. I installed it and I was just like, oh, look at this. Oh, this is so cool. Remember this? I'm showing my wife. She's like, I don't care. I'm like, no, but look. This is look. And it was just really neat to go through and tinker with, and not amazing on a 4K screen.
Oh.
So I just changed.
That might be a killer.
I couldn't find any scaling, and it might be there. Allie,
there's
I
not.
apologize
No.
if it's there and I missed it, but I just changed to 1080p and it was fine. But that's always my fight. But it was a blast. I really enjoyed it, playing with it.
Yeah, and it's still KDE, so there's a ton of settings and different things you can change. So, yeah, it's different, but kind of the same in the sense that a lot of customization can be done.
Look, okay. I gotta say, there is a soft spot in my heart for Trinity. I mean, really for just KDE 3, right? Because Trinity kind of has its own stuff. But there is a soft spot there. But sometimes I forget. That soft spot is rooted in about 2002 when keyboard-driven audio and screen brightness weren't like at the fore. They were coming out at that time when you were able to do that. But did Linux support it? No. So did KDE 3 support it? No. So does Trinity support it? No. All of the buttons at the top of my ThinkPad, they just don't work.
Right.
Like, I'm over here doing like the brightness and it's not working.
Volume up and down.
Maybe I'll do my mic mute. No, that doesn't work either. Volume up and down. No, that doesn't work either. Does Wi-Fi turn off? No, that doesn't work either. So those buttons on top are basically useless, but they don't work because they're meant to do the media key first, and I got to do the function key to do the F key.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was different.
How about the two-finger
none of the
scrolling
stuff
on your mouse pad? How did you enjoy that on Trinity?
Oh, no. You couldn't use two
Right.
fingers. It's just one finger,
Right.
but it's in a
over
very
on the
specific
side.
Over on the
spot.
side. I found it.
And you had to remember. Remember those old gray, those dark gray and light gray Dell Inspirons, and they had like paint. They had actual on the trackpad itself.
It was like
there was a
trackpad.
little
Yeah.
area.
It was like a big eye for the
Yep.
top and the bottom of the spot and a line down the middle, and you just moved your finger.
Yep. And so you had to get your finger in there and scroll. And then I'm over here on my ThinkPad, like trying to two-finger scroll, and just nothing would happen. And I'm like, what? Oh my God, did I break it? What happened? I just installed a hard drive into this thing. Maybe I blew it up.
Blew it up.
No. You had to get your finger in the right spot.
Had to be
off
over there
to
on
the
the edge.
side
I like that your
there.
mouse pad wasn't working in the first place you went, and your mind was, I blew up my hard drive.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh no, it was the hard drive that
They're
made
totally
me blow
related.
up the rest of the laptop, right? But here's something that I realized: the side scrolling thing, that's not just on Trinity, man.
Mm-mm.
That's on Plasma as well. So
It's an option. Yeah.
No, it's not an option. As in, like
I couldn't get it working
on
in Plasma
Plasma.
either.
Oh.
on PC Linux.
So
Oh.
yeah, there is no two-finger scroll.
Yeah.
There's an option for it in Plasma. I didn't turn it on. I was just like,
I
I'm
did.
so
Did
used
turn
to
it
the.
on.
I turned it on.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Does it work?
It didn't work for me.
Oh,
I couldn't get it working.
Oh, it did for me.
I never could get it working. I tried. I eventually just hooked up a wireless mouse and did it. But
well, that's one way to do it.
yeah, I was just.
I absolutely had it working.
Yeah.
I really did. And
So
It's not like I got
That's
some
because-
crazy hardware. Like it's a Dell XPS.
No.
Like it. I feel like
I was on my Dell laptop too.
yeah,
yeah,
It's
this is
older.
a ThinkPad.
It's
This is
old.
all.
Right.
This is all in the kernel.
Yeah.
So
not that
Yeah.
part.
well, yeah. Well, so that does make me wonder. So I mean, that they have this idea that, I mean, what used to work still works. So why change it?
Mm-hmm.
I think that seems to be the deal because
That
They
is
also-
the idea, I think. Yeah.
and Joe, you were talking about the looks of the control center.
Ooh.
Mhm.
And the first thing I want to say about the control center is, number one, it is fantastic.
Yes.
I liken it to Yast.
Yes.
I was going to say it's very OpenSUSE sort of feel, right?
Yeah, and it's got some really cool things. Like you can just couple clicks and you got an FTP server serving up files to everybody in your network. You got a web server serving up
very
files.
powerful.
You can set up WebDAV and NFS so quick.
Very powerful. But it does look like it was powerful in 2003 as well.
I
don't think we had great things to say about the looks of Yast either. So
also true.
Yeah. Yast has probably been brought up to like 2015. But yeah,
maybe.
I agree.
You get my point.
Yast
right?
was a little cluttered for me. The tool itself was fine. I did get a little confused on where to go because I live in Plasma, so I'm used to just going to their settings.
True.
And their settings were there, but some of the same settings were here. And that's where I thought maybe with the mouse thing, I was confusing it because you could set the settings in Plasma and then there was settings in the control center. And I thought, well, am I just overwriting one of the other and I'm accomplishing nothing? So that's
very possible why
did
that's
some
not
Google
working that way.
searches. I found some stuff and they were like, well, try that. And I thought was interesting. They had like a little tool. There's like a little mouse tool. Obviously, this is an issue because they have a tool for it. So where you could install various drivers and things. So if you have a tool, it must mean somebody has had to use said tool enough to maintain it. So I installed the tool and I still couldn't get it to work. But that aside, there's a lot going on there. One thing I want to talk about with PCLinuxOS, and you guys, I don't know if it was episode 2, 3. I hate Synaptic. I think Synaptic is the absolute hold on.
There goes App Focus.
In 2021, I hate Synaptic. In 2020, I hated Synaptic. In 2007, I probably loved Synaptic. In
where you got all your packages from.
In 2013, I probably loved Synaptic. I don't like Synaptic anymore. And I was so sad when I fired up Synaptic. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I was fully expecting a software center of some kind,
that's
and
what
then
I was
Synaptic hits you in the face.
I was like, oh, Synaptic, somebody retire you, please. I know Rocco's dad. Rocco said his dad loves Synaptic, and that's the only way he likes it.
He did say that.
And I get it, but we have more current tools that work better. I'm sorry.
This is coming from the guy that spent some time on Trinity Desktop, man. That nothing ever dies in Linux, never. And if there's 3 people in this world that will use it, one of those 3 people will maintain it.
But
I guarantee.
I think there's a good amount of people that use PCLinuxOS. Like a good amount.
Yes.
There must be.
There is. I mean, I looked at some of and I didn't write them down, but there were some big numbers that they thought at the time based on downloads and whatever. Like good sized numbers, enough to justify the distribution for sure. So all these people are using Synaptic. I guess they're fine with it.
It gets the job done. It's not beautiful. You're right.
It does.
But it does install your software.
But I don't ride a tricycle to work. It would get the job done, but I don't do it. Like I've moved beyond tricycle. So
maybe you should try. I'm
not riding
Some people like it.
I feel like Synaptic has more power than a standard software center. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more that you could do. It's more like Manjaro's software thing where you've got all of the all of the stuff.
So
maybe. I don't know.
Where I think it kind of digs at me a little bit is if we go back to the purpose for this distribution from the founder who was maintaining packages to make it easier for new users to get just going in Mandrake and wanted to create, and that's why he called it such, PCLinuxOS.
And it makes Ice Cubes jealous.
It makes Ice Cubes so cool.
It
makes Ice Cubes jealous. That's their tagline.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
So, and they are, at least from everything I could gather, was about making things simple and easy. And that's why Synaptic bothers me, I think, because Synaptic is not, if I put somebody from any other thing on this today. And if I put them in,
it just doesn't scale though, I think, right? Because at one point in time, we would have said, wow, look at that. That is fantastic. What an easy way to install software.
Yes.
And then there would have been this Joe kind of guy.
Yeah, you were downloading some tar ball and extracting it and compiling it.
Like I said,
now I could just click.
In 2007, yes, I'm blown away by Synaptic, just like I was blown away by YouTube. But like we've come along.
I know.
We've come along. So that's it. Constructive criticism for PC Linux OS. It would be really nice to have a front end of that was a little more,
sure,
just up to date. Whatever that was. I mean, I don't know how easy it would be to plug in the KDE default store, on top of that or whatever. I know they're doing a bunch of interesting things with packages in the background because we have a mix of RPMs and
boy,
debs and
so
I don't know.
I'll say like not installing the software, but like updating your software.
Yep.
They have a nice little updater that seems to work.
Yes,
sits down in your system tray. You get the little red thing.
Yep.
You click on it.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Well, I'm talking about Plasma.
Yeah, okay. It works in Plasma, but it doesn't work.
It doesn't work in Trinity, or at least it didn't when we were trying it.
Yeah.
And so I click on that and enter in the root password, and it's off to the races installing my stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty great.
No, I liked the update. That feature right there reminded me a lot of like Manjaro, where like my little update icon pops up in the bottom corner. I click it, and I can just kind of do it all from there, and I don't really have to get deep into anything to do it. That's awesome.
You know what it reminded me of? Linux Mint.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
No. So I really do think, though, and this is, I'm trying to separate the fanboy in me from everything else, but I really do think Linux Mint does it better because there's so many more options that you can get to see what's going on behind the scenes in the system than the update manager that you get in PC Linux OS. Though they both do the same job, they both get your packages updated, and they both work fantastically. But yeah, I think information-wise, if you're a nerd like me and you're like, well, how big is that package?
Right.
Well, what version was the old one? What version is the new one? When did it come out?
Yep.
Like that's the kind of stuff that I dig. So I kind of missed in PC Linux OS.
Yeah, but it hits the simple mark and it's easy.
Oh yeah,
it does.
And so there you go.
For someone
when you don't care, you just want to
tool.
shove them in there.
Right.
Yeah, easy, done.
It's a great tool.
Yeah, I want to see versions. I need to know. Because especially if I'm going to have an issue.
It flashes it by.
Yeah.
But beforehand, no.
Yeah, I need some data. But so again, they have some really I liked their what was it called? The control center.
Yes.
I thought that was a great addition. Could use a little makeup, but it's fine. I think it gets the job done for sure. And
good functioning tool.
I'm being picky at this point, getting into getting into the weeds, as far as the looks of it. But it functionally seemed very, very powerful. Sure. So thinking about PC Linux OS and just kind of wrapping up their history. And one other thing that I found a little curious. So other than the Trinity desktop. Along the way, they did officially start featuring Mate alongside Plasma and XFCE, but also what we see disappear is GNOME. And I thought, I didn't realize that until I was kind of wrapping up, and I thought, well, GNOME was there because actually one of the reviews I read raved about GNOME. He was like, "This is the best GNOME ever." And I thought, man, okay.
I want that.
Yeah. Well, it was like GNOME 2.32 or whatever.
Oh, well.
So what it was?
So Mate.
Yeah.
Mate
exactly.
now, yeah.
So they didn't get rid of GNOME at all.
No,
they just
exactly.
they called it Mate.
And that's so I tried to dig back and find out like all I could find was a blog post that said, or no, it wasn't even a blog post. So one thing we haven't mentioned yet is the PCLinuxOS Magazine, which I found pretty cool.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. I dug back through. I found a lot of history in there. It's a nice archive. It's kind of, it's really cool. There's a lot of neat articles in there. The one he was talking about in there, though, he said that they were working on GNOME 3. on getting it ready and all of that. But then I never see anything past that. And then some of the other articles I read of the day were, talking about how difficult GNOME 3 was with packages and all that. So it could be, in my humble opinion, that maybe they just couldn't. It was more work than it was worth, and perhaps their user base was much more keen to continue using KDE 3, which basically became Mate. So they've had Mate all along, so I'm going to assume that's where it's at. But I was just curious that GNOME 3 just never got in there. Kind of rare on some of the larger.
Yeah, it is. I mean, GNOME's got to be the most popular of all the desktop environments.
Sure. By a long shot, I think. Yeah. I mean, it's the.
It gets pushed a lot too, right?
It's the feature of Fedora, the two biggest, Fedora and Ubuntu. Like, it's GNOME. I mean, default. So, yeah, you would think if they wanted it in there, it'd be in there, I guess. But it's not. So, oh well. Yeah. I didn't miss it, so it's fine. But yeah, other than that, solid. It worked good. The install went well. I like their. This is picky, but I loved the grub menu. I thought it was awesome. I think
that looks nice. Yeah. The background image.
Yeah, nice background image, and it was cool instead of this just black, like tiny text, like I feel like I'm looking at a DOS prompt or something. It was at least it didn't have the command line feel to it.
What did you guys think of the installer? Because that ain't Calamaris and that ain't Ubiquity, and it's certainly not Anaconda.
It's its own.
So it was fine.
It's a little different.
The partitioning was weird. Like flagging the partitions was a little weird for me. I had to do it a couple times to get it right.
It wasn't too bad. I did install it alongside, and I don't remember a ton of problems.
See, hold on. I was picking all of my partitions.
So I did the exact same thing, Dan. I gave it an entire disk, and I go through the whole thing, and it even lets you choose the resolution that you want Grub to be at, so it looks better and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, really, really cool. I reboot into PCLinuxOS, into Trinity Desktop for a little while, and eventually I'm like, okay, cool. I want to get back on my my Kubuntu partition. Or Kubuntu disk, rather, because they're two separate disks. And I reboot, and I choose Kubuntu, and it's like, grub prompt. I'm like, what? What happened? Did it delete anything? So I kind of panicked for a minute, and I'm like, okay, all right, you know what? Hold on. I remember seeing Ubuntu in the PCLinuxOS grub menu. So I'm like, okay, let me do that. I scroll down, I choose Ubuntu, and it boots up fine. So it nuked the UEFI. And decided it's UEFI. I was like, Windows, what are you doing, Windows? Come on. It kind of does that whole thing, and I don't know what happened there. There's an option during the install that basically says, like, respect all the other stuff. Oh, I checked it. It did not respect all the other stuff.
There was no respect there.
It's a good thing I like the grub menu, because I don't know if I'm going to have any others.
No joke. That
and if you think about like my laptop, I've got Windows, I've got Neon, I've got Manjaro, I've got Solus still on there, and now I've got two versions, Trinity and KDE.
Wow.
And I think all of those, they're all gone. I haven't taken enough time to dig and see if I can get back. I can't even get into my BIOS at this point.
What?
I hit delete.
How did you break that?
No, I hit delete on Dell to get to the BIOS, and it starts. The little blue thing starts, and then it's like PCLinuxOS is like, nah, you didn't mean to go there, and just keeps booting to the grub menu.
Wow.
So I think what I'm going to have to do is go from. I might have to go into Windows, and then go to like the repair piece, and then get into my BIOS from there, and then I'm hoping I'll be able to just reset it back to what I had before.
Normal?
Let us know how that turns out, because that sounds very interesting.
In 2 weeks, when we return to when Joe has wiped his laptop, when Joe nukes his laptop yet again.
It definitely
yanked the hard drive right out.
Yeah, it definitely does some non-standard grubby things.
Yeah.
Or, I may have totally just missed the
grub,
option.
though, because like I said, So the laptop I'm using is a regular BIOS boot. It doesn't have UEFI,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So it was fine. Like my install went good. I installed it alongside Arco. It's on the same disk even. It's not even a separate disk. It's the same disk.
But did you manually set up your partitions? But Joe, you did too.
I
and you're
manually
having
set
issues.
up. I manually set up my
I
partitions.
manually set them up when I did Solus. So that was a while ago now.
Pretty much with Solus, unless you were going to nuke the whole thing.
But no, like
I just did a whole disk.
Yeah.
I think I used, I don't know what I used. I used something to shrink my disk, and I did it with Solus. This time I'm like, wipe out Solus and put PCLinuxOS here, and it did. It just did it.
Okay, so that may be a difference between UEFI, which I think Joe and I did.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
The old BIOS style.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how interesting it gets.
Let me take you on a journey with Trinity, because I don't feel like I demand a whole lot out of a desktop.
Yeah,
but
you're pretty demanding, Leo.
Sound is pretty normal to want.
You might want sound.
Maybe.
So come with me on this journey. This is something that's unique to Trinity, and I don't know how to fix it. And because there's like 70 billion options. They started the whole 70 billion options thing early. So
they did.
This is a K-Mix thing. So what do I do when I install junk on a new distro? I install Audacity, I install Discord, our normal tools to do podcasting and stuff, right? So it was very easy to get the mic working. Stupidly, I had turned off the mic in the BIOS, so I'm like, why is the mic not working? And so I reboot in the BIOS. I'm like, oh, I disabled it. That's probably why. So anyways, I boot back in and get K-Mix, and it's like, here's one option. Turn it on. And the mic works. Audacity, beautiful. Mic works. And what happens when I play back? Nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, that's surely I just need to choose the right output device and whatever. So I go and it's Pulse Audio and it's one device and it's already on and it's already maxed out volume. And I'm like, okay.
Sounds great.
Cool. Let me play it again. Nothing. I'm like, all right, well, so you go down and you can choose the Intel sound card, whatever that's in here. I'm like, that's definitely what the issue is. So I click on that, PCH or something, maybe, I don't know. And the Intel PCH mixer option. And output and the headphones, and there's a couple other outputs. They're all maxed out. They're all turned on. And I'm like, what? I even remember vaguely back in the day when KDE 3 was still an actual thing, that you had to use the PCM slider. That was actually the master volume for everything else. I don't know why it was like that, but I don't understand what any of this stuff does. I didn't back then and I don't now. So I cranked that all the way up. Nothing. I went the entire time in Trinity with no audio. So I don't know how to fix that, guys. I flipped every switch. I cranked everything up to 100%. Nothing made it work. I don't know.
It reminds me of the good old days of Linux.
Seriously.
When
you're trying to get Wi-Fi working and audio, it seemed like the two biggest
but even
problems.
Back then, I found out the PCM thing. I turned up that slider and I heard audio and I was like, "Whoa!" It's amazing. Never got that epiphany in this. I don't know.
It's because you were using
and
Epiphany.
It's not like
were you using the Epiphany browser? You can't use
I
Epiphany.
had all the luck apparently because I booted it up and I got the tone. As soon as I logged in, I got the little.
I had audio too.
I could have sworn I had audio, but it went away. I didn't change anything, but it
Check
went
your hard
away.
drive. Your hard drive's bad.
Maybe, yeah. So, but you mentioned browser. You mentioned browser, and I gotta say, they don't ship Firefox in Trinity. They ship Brave.
Yeah.
And man, if you're not going to do a Firefox, because Plasma ships Firefox. If you're not going to do Firefox, then man, what a choice. Yeah. Brave is the choice to make.
That's a good choice.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely.
+1 PC Linux.
So my journey's not over, because I was like, all right, that's fine. I can at the very least see what happens with Discord. And, maybe I can talk to you, but I can't hear you. I don't know. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's go install Discord. So I go, and this is every version of PCLinuxOS. I go and install Discord, and it's like, you're going to get version 0.12. Well, that is not the current version. And what does Discord do whenever you don't have the current version?
Please upgrade to the next
download
version.
Download the deb. The deb.
Well, you can put
And
debs, right? Don't they have debs on here?
No,
they got apt, but they don't have.
They don't do debs. There's no depackage.
Yeah.
So no debs. And I'm like, okay, let me do the tar GZ one. Okay, cool. I drop that into into a Discord directory, and as it does, every time I do this with Discord that's not on a non-standard deb distro, it's like, your Discord's broken, but you can still chat and stuff.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
hang out
that's
with
fine
us.
at the very least. Yeah. So I had the current version, but I'm like, well, I don't want it to be broken. So I uninstalled, or I really just deleted the whole thing, and I installed it via Flatpak. Well, Flatpak didn't give me any of those issues. I could join the audio channels and everything else, but you know what? It wouldn't have worked anyway, because Discord could not see any of the audio devices, not even the input that actually worked.
Even on Plasma?
And so,
or was this on Trinity?
No, Plasma worked fine.
It was
But
just
this
Trinity.
was just on
Okay.
Trinity.
Yep.
I installed
Oh, okay.
Flatpak and it just didn't work. So it's probably, K-Mix doesn't
Right.
deal with the newfangled whatever.
Something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And nothing I did in Flat Seal fixed that. So I'm like, well, that's useless to me. And so I'm like, you know what? There's got to be a way to turn an RPM into a deb. Or a deb into an RPM. And then I remembered Alien. So I looked it up and found some example commands. And I'm like, cool, I think I can do this. So I downloaded the deb, aliened it, and it was like, you don't have RPM build. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I can go find that. So I opened up Synaptic, and I searched for RPM build the exact way the terminal told me to. Didn't exist. And so I'm just like blindly searching around. I came across some blog post that was like, here's what you install, and it's not RPM build. It's RPM dash build. Yeah. Give me some fuzzy search, Synaptic. Come on. Give me something. Because the command is RPM build, but the package is RPM dash build.
Oh,
so,
that's brutal.
So I install RPM build. I'm able to alien the thing, and I install it. And
How'd that
what
work
does it tell
out
me?
for you?
Yeah, Discord's
Yeah.
corrupted. Same as it was with TarGZ. And I'm like, what a waste of time that was. But to their credit, Alien worked fine. And there's actually a GUI that I found by a user Upgrade, Greyed. Upgrade's gonna kill me.
Fancy.
And he packaged up something called Package Converter that's basically a GUI front end for Alien. You just drag and drop it in there and it does the same thing. So it's really
that's cool.
Yeah.
Could he package in a GUI front end for Synaptic?
Synaptic is the
I
GUI
know,
front end, my
but it
friend.
needs another one.
So I got to say, there were some issues when I installed the deb, and it was it tried to install Chromium as well, which I assume is because there's Electron back there. And
Probably, yeah.
So when I installed like apt install / the RPM, it was like installing Chromium.
Yeah, no, you're not.
And then it just hung, and I never figured out what happened. Like I control C'd, it just ignored me.
Yeah.
It was like control C. What is that? No.
Nope.
And I did it like 8 times, and it was still like no. Anyway, so I kill that terminal, and I go install Chromium through Synaptic, and it worked. And then I go back to the command line to install Discord, and it finally works. And then the whole thing. So Discord on Trinity is just not going to happen for you. The repo version's too old, and all the other alternative ways to do it just don't work. So
if you're gonna need Discord, may not be for you.
yeah, Trinity not for Discord. But everything else seemed to work okay except for audio.
So
I don't know what I did
interestingly,
wrong, man.
so let me pick your guys' brain here for a second. So this is a rolling release.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which typically packages stay pretty up to date in rolling releases. Not all, but for the most part, pretty up to date.
Yeah.
So
Right.
are we more of a kernel rolling release and maybe desktop packages?
I think the base packages
the base
do.
packages, but
Yeah.
but some of the app packages just are getting missed
Well,
or
You know what? I don't necessarily think it's really that big of a deal. It's just because Discord punishes you for using older versions. That's why it's so important in this case.
Yeah.
If I had an Audacity that was 2 versions old,
It'd be fine.
I don't care.
Right.
It records my audio and shows me a little ticker at the bottom. I don't care. I don't need the newest one.
You don't have to get very far out of date with Discord to have it
one
be
version.
version.
It will
so
harass
that's what I'm
you.
saying. Like, that doesn't take long. Yeah,
right.
That's harsh.
But was it one version
So-
out, or wasn't it like? I thought you said it was multiple versions out.
No, just one.
Is it just one?
It's
Okay.
.12 and .13 is
okay.
current.
All right.
But once you are, the moment that version number is different, it's like, hey, go get the new one. So,
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
All right. So it's good, just not
it,
current.
honestly, it really is good. The operating system itself is actually really good. It's just when you have these edge cases like I have. I mean, well, Discord in itself is an edge case because of the way that they have to handle updates. But I think, to be honest with you, the whole look and feel of Trinity, I think honestly I was wooed by the nostalgia for it. But overall, it's still usable. It's still very good as a desktop
absolutely.
environment.
And like we talked about, it's very customizable. Like, there is a ton of different themes out there.
Yeah.
You want to change it? You want to make it look more modern? Absolutely. You can totally do that.
Stop it.
And
no, you can't.
No,
Stop
you
it.
You
Stop.
can.
No,
No,
stop it.
absolutely
You can make
you
it look more modern as far as like 2007 to 2010. But
don't you dare talk about my plastic theme like that.
You're not. Nobody.
Leo
I don't
loves
think anybody's.
plastic.
I'm telling you.
I don't think anybody's making. I didn't come across any current themes that would make the desktop look more current. I found a bunch of really cool classic themes that were really awesome.
Yeah.
But I didn't find
plastic.
anything that, like, plastic, yay for you, but it's not a 2020 like theme. Like,
all you listeners out there, you send your themes to @JoJo_Fett.
Please do. I'd love to. I'd drop them in a heartbeat. I was looking for them. I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to play with themes. And I just stuck with the classic ones. And that was fine because it
was fine for me, too.
It was fine because it's where I was at in my headspace. So it's fine.
I stuck with plastic because plastic is the KDE3 theme.
Yeah.
Just use plastic and
it's fine.
You'll love it.
Yeah, yeah. But let's stop it with the like, you can make it look like a modern distro. Look, modern what? This side of the turn of the century?
Hey, challenge accepted, buddy.
Okay.
I'm going to find something
you
now.
theme it.
Listen, Windows XP is still modern, okay? People still run it.
If you work in like government, it is. So it's still your daily driver.
What I will say, though, overall, Plasma fixed all my issues.
Yeah.
So the PCLinuxOS flagship is fantastic. I like it a lot. I mean, the Discord issue still exists, but I mean, everything else I would be able to get by. It's actually pretty decent, and I don't necessarily mind having to do like Alien or something like that for a deb or whatever, because everything is a deb, but nothing's an RPM. But I really do. I liked the vibes of PCLinuxOS overall.
Well, you do have Flatpak as an option as well.
And yeah, actually, you know what? That's a really good point. I think Flatpak just fills the rest of the gaps.
It does. Yeah. And two, I think we were we wouldn't be doing it justice if we didn't highlight some of the areas we ran into. I can't sit here and say like everything was amazing and it's the best and blah blah blah, but it was good. Like the Plasma Trinity was Trinity, and it is it's a very specific use case that someone is going to love staying in that world and working in it. That's fine. That's great. I enjoyed my little walk through memory lane. It's not going to be what I used as a daily driver going forward, of course, but I did enjoy it and I love it and I see the merits of it. And again, we talked earlier about those in the Linux community that just don't want anything to change. That's fine. There you go. It's there for you. You can get on Mate and you can get on Trinity, and you should be a very happy person. But as far as the Plasma iteration, my only gripe was Synaptic. Other than that, and my mouse. Like I couldn't get the two-finger scrolling. Those two things were it. Everything else, fine. Flatpak is great. I use it everywhere else. I don't mind. Yeah, just those two little things for me.
I feel like I really have to agree with you there because I mean Synaptic feels so out of place.
It does. It doesn't fit
in Plasma. It
well,
does
it's
not
GTK,
fit.
so I mean,
Well, there's that.
It's gonna feel a little out of place.
But
The
right?
control center kind of out of place too. But
Yeah, well, a control center. So,
Yeah.
so
look wise, it's fantastic. But look wise,
some of the
it's out of
customization
place.
that they've done, the custom apps, like the control center and a few of the other things, even the little updater, like when the little box pops up and it does, you're like, okay, it'll go away. Eventually, I don't have to look at it. But Plasma 5 is such a serene, beautiful desktop to me. Like it is, is crisp. It's clean. So when you pop up these little blobs of very functional software, again, not questioning that at all. They work fine. Control Center works great. The little updater worked great on Plasma. They just look a little out of place. Some people could really care less about that. It's our job to pick, and that's why we do this, is because it's fun to look and pick and find and do all the things. So, but yeah, I think it's definitely got a place. It's
couple other things I'll mention, like they are not shying away from adding proprietary software either. So I saw things like Zoom and things like that are proprietary that are actually installed. Not even like you had to go find it. It was already installed in the Plasma version.
Was there a secret Microsoft repo for VS Code?
I sure. Hey,
sorry.
Excuse me, sir. Did you touch my
wrong
Raspbian install
wrong
and
podcast.
add a single text line?
Oh my goodness!
Into my app
How
sources?
dare you, sir? How dare you?
How dare you?
I didn't change your sources. No, sorry.
Dan, how dare you?
Somebody did. Somebody. I don't even want VS Code.
I've had it. I've had it.
I've had it
Microsoft,
up to here.
That's it.
Up to
Microsoft's
line
watching
7.
They're trying to extinguish us
Microsoft's-
again.
Listen, I don't want to be pinging Microsoft servers, okay?
Yep. They're counting us.
They can count me. I don't care. Google already knows everything. They can just ask
No,
Google.
so-
Google already knows everything about me.
But seriously, so those things are built into their repos, and they have some of them installed, which is, I mean,
great.
You want to use your computer, right? So you're probably going to encounter a piece of software that you have to go and search. If you want the whole free thing, this probably isn't the distro for you.
Go to Fedora and don't touch copper.
Right. That's fine.
Or touch copper. Touch it all over.
Well, don't touch it. No, not if you want to be that guy. If you want to be free, go to Fedora. Don't install everything. Don't use anything. Just look at it.
Right.
Watch it do stuff. Maybe.
There's no video
watch it not play
Watch it
videos.
not do stuff.
Yeah. That's fine. Like, if that's your thing, go for it. But they give you functional software that you can use, and I think that's great.
That is.
Yeah, I feel like PCLinuxOS is actually kind of on the you can, if you're going to compare it to something, you should probably compare it to Solus, right? So they're not bleeding edge everything, but they still have way newer packages than most distributions, and they do go out of their way to make sure that you can get the software that you want. Maybe not every single piece of software that you could ever possibly want or ever possibly have, but they curate a lot of that stuff for you, and I think that's a fantastic way to make your users happy, right? I mean, because that's the whole point of having this distro, is to make yourself first and foremost, right? It's yours, but all of the users that follow it, make them happy as well by sticking Zoom on there. I mean, how many times have we said the word Zoom in the past?
We've used Zoom a lot. So
exactly. So
it exists.
And I checked. You're not joking. It really is installed right there, man. That's cool.
Yeah. No, it was great.
Yeah. So all of that, I think, is what rounds out this distribution. Is they have some, I'd call those sane defaults for the average user who's not just so crazy about you know, third-party stuff or proprietary stuff. Like, it's just life. We got to use certain stuff. It'd be great if it was all open. It's not. It's not where we're at. So it's nice that some of that stuff's installed. Did you guys install that? See, they also had like with Trinity, I think they still had the mini and then like the Big Daddy. Did you do the Big Daddy?
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, I was like, give me all of it. I want to see what's in here.
Well,
I want the whole thing. Yeah.
I mean, I got the Big Daddy ISO because I was hopeful
that it was going to have your codecs, that your audio was going to work.
Well, I mean, no, that the fourth box gets filled up one of these days.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Yeah. We're talking to you, bud.
But we'll say this. So the Big Daddy ISO is curated by Ali, and he came into our Telegram group, offered to help, even gave some of our group, assistance. And so I think that above and beyond support
Oh yeah, man.
that you get from that, I think that's pretty fantastic too. That's another highlight from this distro. And they've got some forums, and you see people posting, and they're pretty active on there.
Yep.
And I think the support after the install or during the install or whatever that you get alongside the distro, that also makes it a great thing.
Yep.
Yeah. For everyone who
Community.
downloads it, if you download it, Ali's going to follow you around, make sure it works. It's great. It's part of the service. He comes on the USB
fit
stick.
right in your back pocket.
Right there.
There you go.
No, we can't thank him enough, obviously, too. He jumped right in, and one of our number who tends to have difficulty installing things, we won't mention his name on the air, Rocco.
He might break things from time to time.
Needed a little extra help
all the time
as he was trying to get in, and Ali was right there, and it was really awesome. So we appreciated that.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of hard work goes into all of these distros. We do pick at them a little bit, but we're running our day-to-day lives within them. So I can't skip. There's one last thing. Because I harp on Mint so much, I can't have any of these Mint heads coming at me going, well, what about PCLinuxOS website? All right, okay. So it's not fabulous. Like,
you're trying real hard, man.
It's not amazing.
You're doing great, Joe. Doing great, buddy.
It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. But it's not the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So, emphasis on that. Yeah,
it's very. It had that very KDE 3.5 web feel, if that makes any sense.
Not going to disagree with that one.
Yeah. Everything's not about the website. Again, I just can't pick at one without picking at the other. So I'm sorry, PCLinuxOS.
A forum looks like a forum, and that's where you go for the help. So how many times do you go back to the front
forum?
page?
Did look nice.
Yeah, don't go.
Yeah.
I like the forum.
Yeah, the forum's great. The forum looks exactly like a forum. So
it did.
So they got that.
If you remember a forum, that's what it looks like.
Let's take a walk down memory lane and go. No, we won't do that. So some of the little final things here again. PCLinuxOS, the base system is their own custom fork. It's become its own thing. Desktop environments, you have access to Plasma, Mate, XFCE, Trinity, LXDE, and OpenBox. Synaptic's there for those of you that love it. It's a rolling.
Some people do.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm sure there's somebody's gonna.
Not me, but some people.
It's fine. It's different. That's the great thing about Linux. You can have Synaptic, and I can have everything else that works better.
You can send your mail to Joe.
No Wayland support as of yet. I could find.
Well, no systemd support either.
Yeah, right.
No, there was no systemd.
Doing that.
No,
not doing no systemd.
Messing with
Get
that
your systemd out of here.
Yep. Rolling kernel, so you're going to be on close to
5.10.11 or something.
Close to the latest.
Yeah, it was really current.
It's
current. It was great.
So that's good. It would run on my Lenovo AMD laptop. So that's great. Solus couldn't do that until the update. So, all right. So after an entire month with PCLinuxOS, final thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was solid.
It was a fantastic distribution, but Discord can't not work.
That's said. Enjoyed the walk down memory lane with Trinity, and
I'll agree with that. Yeah, that was fun.
Solid. I had no distro issues. Linux installed well.
Yep.
It ran well. Everything else was, again, on the edges, in the weeds, so to speak. Little nitpicky stuff, but
yeah,
good job on this. The team there, everybody that's working on it. Again, thanks to Ali for jumping in our Telegram and helping out with some installation things with our group, and yeah. It was a good time. Housekeeping.
Keep house.
Keep
house.
Somebody keeping some
Please
house.
get out. Get out.
Hey.
Keep my house.
I was driving.
Read the sign. It says "Do not disturb."
I was driving by and my tire fell off. Could you help me? You got a jack? I think my radiator fell out of my car. Could you help me?
I can't lift that.
I'll do your housekeeping.
A lot of pillows.
Yep. Full up on pillows. No towels. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I'll move on down the road. Appreciate you.
Keep on keeping on.
Thanks for noticing me. Housekeeping.
All right, so I'm going to...
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I'm going to do something.
Dan, do it.
Hang on.
Dan, start talking so I
Do
can
it.
start talking at the same time. Dan, go. Dan,
Wait.
go. Dan, go.
Big.
Do it. Do it.
Big.
Do it. Hey.
Big announcement.
Hey, do it. Do it. Yo. Hey, yo,
All right,
do it.
I think I will.
Do it.
Anyway, big announcement.
Confetti.
I'm probably going to mess it up,
Shh.
but that's okay.
Maybe.
That's why I
Confetti.
got the two of you alongside
Too
me.
late.
To help
Hey,
you mess up.
that's it.
Confetti.
We are very appreciative for all the Patreon supporters. Therefore, we have set up some new tiers on Patreon.
Hold on. You're going to make them cry? Tears?
Not those kind of
Tears
tiers,
of
Leo.
joy.
Oh.
We got some great new perks to go along with your tiers, including special access to our Discord server.
Yay.
Yay.
We have Discord.
Yay. Wait, when did we get Discord?
I don't know.
I don't
When
know.
did we start this
Hang on.
podcast?
Minutes
A year ago.
Okay.
And now we're just going to use it.
Yeah. Everyone is invited to Discord, but patrons...
Except Trinity desktop users. Sorry. Gonna have to update.
Yeah, sorry,
Well,
Trinity.
it's too late. I'm
folks.
already there.
Yeah, PC Linux OS.
Oh,
Flatpak. Just
You
install
can chat
Flatpak.
with us over there.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Anyway, everyone is invited to Discord, but patrons, well, they get special access members with channels just for you. And if you want to join, you'll get a little tag or badge or whatever they call those things over on Discord. These newfangled things that the kids do. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll get pointed out that you're a patron.
This from the
You're special.
Matrix guy. These newfangled things.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Let me just go get this
All
element
right,
app
just
real
go
quick.
join our Matrix channel, then our Bumbador channel, and then our Mastodon channel, and our Bumblebee channel, and our Facebook Messenger group channel, .com.org.k12.us. .show
Sounds right.
channel.
Absolutely. And if you like what you hear on the show and you want in on some of these special perks and you want to find out what they are.
Which is one of the perks was the rest of the video. You missed half the conversation at the very beginning of this show,
Damn.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
You
get
want
in
early
on that.
early access to the recording.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things. You get those great perks. You can head on over to Patreon at patreon.com/LinuxUserspace. The Linux community has some fantastic members, and we want to make sure to highlight that. In our showcase for this episode, we want to draw your attention to LearnLinux.tv. So Jay has built up more than just tutorials over there. He's got a great community following as well, with his own, forums and, a whole learning environment. So we talked about RescueZilla in the last episode. He's got a video that walks you through just how easy it is.
See,
He's
I
got a
wasn't
bunch of-
lying to you. I wasn't lying to you.
Yeah, it's great. And so he's got a lot of other videos too.
Wait, what's this?
on
Windows
other
Server
great
2019.
things.
What is this?
He's going to run that on KVM.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
fine.
fine.
Well, hold on. He had a whole video on, and I watched the whole. I was not planning on watching the whole thing, but he had a whole video on the Mac M1 and performance, and he uses it as a kind of a backup, right? I mean, he does everything on Linux, but for the things that he can't do on Linux, he's got a Mac instead of a Windows box for the most part. And he was talking about the differences between the old Mac and the new Mac. And as we were talking about Mac, what was it, last episode or the episode before that? That's
times.
really where a lot of the information that I had from the M1 chip, that's where all that came from. It was Jay. So thanks, Jay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good over there. You got a channel. It's good. I like it.
It's great stuff to learn. And he's got videos for desktop users along with server administrators. There's something for everyone. It's great stuff.
Even me.
He's got some Docker stuff,
Yeah.
some Pi stuff. It's good stuff.
Ah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Home Lab.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely
Apple
amazing.
Pie. Apple Pie, right?
Apple Pie.
Mm-hmm. VS Code repository pie.
Ooh, too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon. There's some angry Linux users out there that are angry, and they're going to be angry.
There's
Wait
always
a
a group
minute.
of angry
users
Linux users.
never get angry.
They're
that
raising their
does not
fist at
happen.
the kids on their lawn saying, get out of here,
Grr.
VS Code. You ruined my entire life on my Raspberry Pi.
Uphill both ways.
But I wasn't going to update anyways.
If you're an angry Linux user, you can feel free to send your emails to contact@linuxuserspace.show. Or even if you're a happy Linux user, you can still send your emails there.
Nah, just the angry ones.
We'll take them all. You can follow us on Twitter @LinuxUserspace to get all the latest announcements for this show and highlights for things that impact your user space. Hey, feel free to join us over on yet another chat platform, Telegram.
How dare you? Oh, yeah.
You could join us on Telegram at linuxuserspace.show/Telegram. Lastly, don't forget to rate this podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast application, and like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, where you can get the video.
Ooh, the video.
Yeah. What is that, like 4 more apps?
Man, get on the video. You can see.
Boy, we are racking up the apps.
Oh, man. You can see my cool little spectral analyzer round thingy. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's great.
And our bobbleheads.
And our bobbleheads.
The bobblehead.
Bobbly.
Patent pending.
You can always get more information at our website, linuxuserspace.show.
Okay. Are we ready for this?
This is App Focus, where we app on the focus of the app and the focus app of the focus. Next time on the Focus
We're
app.
Focus on apps.
Focus on apps.
I'm focusing.
We don't focus enough on apps.
Focus.
Focus.
Focus. Listen.
Ah,
Focus.
eyes front. Ah, yes, Sensei.
Focus.
Focus.
So what are we focusing on? Cody. We've talked about it so many times.
Wait,
Cody, what's Cody? Oh,
wait.
wrong one.
HedgeDoc.
Oh, different Cody.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Cody.
The medical doctor.
MD.
Yeah, the medical doctor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
one.
MD.
Not just
exactly.
Doogie Howser.
That
It's
guy.
Doogie Howser MD. It's Cody MD. Come on.
Exactly.
That's sacrilegious.
So this is the thing that will play all of your video and all. Wait.
No,
Hang on.
wrong,
That's
wrong,
not
wrong.
right. Okay, yeah. Okay.
That's the Cody
Okay,
with
I'm-
a K. This is Cody with a C.
And
You
the
see
MD.
why they changed the
MD.
name now.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
actually, okay, I see it. So we've called it Cody. I mean, when we installed it, when Dan
that was so
installed it in the first place.
2020.
It says Cody
Yeah.
at the top of my screen. I'm sorry.
It does.
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
All
Well,
right,
I mean,
so
hold on, you got to blame
Somebody
Dan.
needs to update, I guess.
Oh, hashtag blame Dan. So CodiMD, which has turned into HedgeDoc. All right, so for those of you that don't know, this is HackMD. HackMD was the original project, the enterprise project, and HackMD split into HackMD CE, the corporate edition, and HackMD EE, or community edition, and then enterprise edition. That's right. So we had this split, and then HackMD CE turned into CodiMD to avoid naming confusion, and then that didn't really work out because Cody and Cody.
That was confusing
Which Cody
too.
are you talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah.
How about that?
One of those Codys, and then we decided, we're going to drop the Cody thing too. We're going to call this bad boy HedgeDoc. Well, I got to say, have you seen that icon?
That rebranding is nice.
This is the cutest little icon I've ever seen in my life. It's got a little heart, and it's a
Yeah.
hedgehog. Go look. You
Joe,
can't
go. Look. You want to look at a
So-
really nice webpage. Go there.
So you know what happens
exactly.
is when you say
it's
hedge,
like a web page out of 2020.
when you say it, I think of HedgeDocs, which is
Okay.
which makes docs for MacBooks. I'm like, why does that sound so
Okay.
familiar? HedgeDoc. Oh, HedgeDocs. So, anyways,
Very similar, but
Yeah.
not.
Hold
no,
on.
not
So
really.
there might be another name.
Now they're gonna
change
have
in
to
the
change it
future
again.
when
Oh man, that's not good.
So okay, all right. So HedgeDoc, what is HedgeDoc? Honestly, you know what it is? It's a multiplayer text editor. Right. So
That's
if you
an
are
excellent description.
if you are in any way familiar with Google Docs or Office 365, where you can go on the web and have these collaborative documents, and everybody adds this and adds that and highlights, and then you can go back and look at history and see what changed and all that kind of stuff. This is it, except you're not getting a full-blown, Word document editor. You're getting a Markdown editor. And for anybody that prefers Markdown over the big, heavy text editors, this is it. This is the one. And we have fun with it all the time. I mean, we just talked about it last time, where I don't know, the stuff that got copied and pasted in there, you kind of had to scroll over a little bit.
So if you need help with your HedgeDoc,
I'm winning the game. I'm winning.
If you need help with your HedgeDoc instance, Dan, who's on CodiMD version 0.9.
Stop.
Server, which is deprecated 7 years ago.
I did no.
Also,
no.
if you need a tutorial on how to paste an email into Cody/HedgeDoc/HedgeHog.com.
Cutest hedgehog.
Cute hedgehog.
Joe, just go toot about that, would you?
If you need that, then Dan's your guy. Tweet at Dan Simmons. Nope. KC2BEZ757143227 AlexanderDrive.com, New York. On Twitter.
And if you do that in the next 30 days, you get free hosting.
You get free hosting.
Oh, yes.
And a prince from Nigeria will call and give you money. So
of course, yeah,
absolutely,
it's all related.
Yeah.
You have to send the prince like $10,000 before you
get your
free
Bitcoin
hosting.
while it's ready.
Yeah, it is free after the Nigerian prince, gives you the 20,000 back.
Right.
And yeah,
well, you have to click so
it
you
all
can
washes.
Send it to all 10,000 of your friends.
It's an IOU.
Of course,
it's an IOU.
Yeah, it comes out in the wash. It's all a wash.
It'll be on your taxes.
Of course. So with HedgeDoc, CodiMD, whatever this thing is, I don't know. Why would you want it?
Oh, it's great.
Honestly, it's so I can watch Joe struggle to read an email. That's why I want it. That's the best.
Well, that's
thing.
pretty great.
That is the joy of it. But the collaborative joy. I mean, we put this show together every other week, and we live in that thing. And yeah, Cody, as it sits, I don't know if it's going to change much when Dan does update it, but I would assume HedgeDoc is going to look very similar. But I love the ability to have it in editing mode and then the side-by-side mode. So as you're editing in Markdown, you can see what it's going to actually look like, and then have it in presentation mode on the other side. I love it. Like, I think it's cool. We can all be in it at the same time. It's much better than working in like a Google Doc or a Word doc or something like that. It's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's cross-platform because it's in your browser, right? So, so you can use it in any browser you want to. I'm using Firefox. I'm sure Joe's using some Chromium something or another, whatever.
Edge all day.
Yeah, exactly.
At me,
whatever.
Bill. At me, Bill. Get at me.
So
I'll be over here in Vivaldi. It's okay.
Ugh, gross. So you can use whatever browser you want to, and you can get at Cody. But one of the coolest things about this, right, and I think Dan can speak a little bit more to this, but how do you use it? I mean, you just log into it and start creating documents and doing all that kind of thing. But I know right at the very beginning, Dan, you didn't want to have to deal with all of our credentials, and you didn't want to do usernames, none of that. So how did you fix that?
Well, so I basically did OAuth, authentication. You guys all have Google accounts, so it's tied to your Google. I mean, yeah, it's Google, but there you go.
Yeah,
it works.
I use Google as a little bit, and this is where I use some of that Googleness, and it just makes it super easy, and you don't have to worry about dealing with user accounts, right? To figure out who's editing who and have the history and all that kind of thing. It is super important when, I don't know, Joe comes in and decides to delete your entire section and be like, oh, I don't know what happened. Yeah, so
whoops.
You got to know You got to be able to point the finger, right? I wouldn't know it was Joe unless there's a paper trail. Yeah. So paper trail.
Yeah, a little margin over on the side. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I have to ask, are you going to use HedgeDoc?
If we have another
I think
episode.
We will.
I don't know. If we don't get canceled after today.
It all hinges on that,
It all
right?
hedges on...
Hedges?
Let's not
we gotta hedge our bets.
Let's hedge our bets.
Let's hedge it.
That will continue to use this doc
thing.
So I have a pretty simple setup. I basically have a Docker, and I just pull down with Docker Compose, I pull down the latest image, and there it is.
Yeah, and if you order in the next 30 minutes, you can get Docker for free.
Oh, Docker.
Yeah. Docker.
Yeah, might even come with a pair of Dockers.
Ooh.
Yeah. Is this, how do we have this hosted?
It's on Linode.
Linode.com. You can go to Linode right now for 100,000 free dollars and 27,000 free hours. If you go to Linode.com/CodiMD HedgeDoc something.
No, don't go there.
And the
Jeez,
takedown
don't listen
notice
to that guy.
is here.
Isn't this the part where every Linux podcast has a commercial about?
Next time, we have what kind of episode is this? It's one of those ones where we just talk about stuff. We don't do the distro, but we do a
topics.
distro. The topic show. We got to talk about topics, but as it gets closer and closer, the topics change all the time, and we miss a lot of stuff. So one thing I would love is if you have a topic that you want to hear us chat about, send it to us, either in email or Telegram or this newfangled Discord thing we got. Just send us your link. Let us read over it, and if it's something that we can blabber on about for about 20 minutes or something like that, it'll definitely make it to the show. So, yeah, next show, topic show. And are we gonna pick a distro? We're gonna do that. Is this right now?
We should pick a distro.
We should pick a distro. What distro are we gonna do?
Joe, you had some thoughts on this.
Miley Cyrus Black, I think it is.
That's something like that.
Oh, Rebecca?
Oh, that one. I don't know. Aren't they all the same? Is it rolling?
Hey, you know why you don't see Miley Cyrus and Rebecca Black in the same room at the same time?
Same person?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa. That's a bold statement.
I had a lot of thoughts on it. I don't remember where we ended up.
Come on. You were just ready to hop on that Nitrux train.
Oh, Nitrux.
You love
that's
app
it.
images.
Yes.
Nitrux. What are you going to do without your app images, man?
That's the place where app images go.
Yep. To succeed, we'll
out
find
the
out.
pasture. Yay.
Nitrux. Don't they have their own theme?
Nitrux.
Is that like an icon theme?
No, that's Numix.
Same thing.
Good call. You had me.
I had you for a minute, huh?
Do they
okay.
really?
Numix, Nitrux.
Something.
Yeah.
Starts with an N, ends with an X. Yeah.
Nitrux. So what's so cool about Nitrux?
App images,
That's
man.
App images.
It's got an Ubuntu base, so it's going to be familiar, and you can do the Ubuntu stuff. But app images, everything is an app image, and they're are they a little more rolling, or they really are just Ubuntu base?
I think they really are just an Ubuntu base.
Okay, all right, cool.
I'm not sure what they're based on. We're going to find out.
You know what? Joe is going to let you know in the history section.
We're going to find out.
Now, so yeah,
whether you want to know or not, I'm going to dig. I'm going to find some stuff.
Listen. Sometimes we just don't put a lot of thought into what we do. We just do things because whatever, it popped up on a Google search one time.
Sounds fun.
We're like,
we
do that.
spun the wheel, and there it was.
Sometimes we just hate ourselves and want punishment.
Hey, it could be this one, it could be the next one.
We
I don't know,
yet.
but Nitrux will find out. Is it worth it? Thank you, everybody, for listening and your support. Remember, the more support you give, the cooler colors you get in Discord. Yay! Please follow along with Nitrux. Get it installed on your box. Put it on a VM. Get it on that extra laptop that you have. Dual boot it with your desktop. I don't know. It depends on how adventurous you are. But for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be diving into Nitrux and having a good old time over there. So follow us along. But until next time, where can we find you, fine folks?
You can find me at KC2BAZ on Twitter.
You can find me at JoJo_Fett.
And you can find me at Leo Chavez. Join us in 2 weeks when we return to this here Linux user space.
Bye.
Bye.